I was going to go easy on you, not to hurt your feelings.
You f***ing irritate the shit out of me!
I'm only going to get this one chance. It's just a feeling I've got. Like something's about to happen, but I don't know what.
All I hear, go get the money. So I go get it. Hate means I do something.
Hey, what's going on, peeps? Welcome to Gap Selling 54. Gap Selling 54. So you know what it's about. This is a real sales call, right? This is a real sales call. It's a real person who has a real product. Today's guest is from Pickle. I'll bring him on in a second. So it's a real sales call. So if this person can find a problem I have or my company has, we will buy. If not, well, y'all know what happens. All right. So let me bring my man in here and let's get him here, and I can introduce you all to my man, Kamana. Did I say that right, brother?
Yep. Kamana, you got it.
Kamana. All right, Kamana. Welcome. Kamana's with Pickle, everybody, and they help people capture important elements of video. But I'll let him tell you what he does so then he can start and take off. So the floor is yours, my man.
Awesome. So just quick overview, right, before we get started. We work with salespeople. Salespeople have a lot of virtual meetings over Zoom and similar platforms. Like Keenan said, we capture and share key moments and insights from those meetings. So helping reps, at the end of the day, stay organized, capture every detail, understand their buyers better, find real problems, and at the end of the day, close more deals, win deals faster, close bigger deals.
All right. All right. So.
Yep. Appreciate you having me. So I have a few questions.
Quick question. Have you read the book?
I've read the book. I've read the book and listened to the book. And,
all right, that's good. That's a good start.
We tried to do a little bit of workshopping internally, just with our own sales team, but maybe not to the level of actually hiring you.
All right. Well, we'll see. Time will tell. So I'm excited. I'm excited for you, baby. All right.
All right. I appreciate it.
Take it away, bro.
So looking at your sales team, right? Is it only Christian? Is he the only salesperson?
Yeah. We lost one of our guys. I just had an interview today.
Okay.
So we're hiring
2 months ago, right?
2 more people. I'm sorry.
2 months ago, I saw this, right? So you had another account executive 2 months ago, didn't work out.
No, he was there a lot more than 2 months ago. He left about a month ago. He's been here for close to a year, 7, 8, 9 months, close to a year, but not quite.
Okay, cool. But just hired.
So if anybody wants to sell for us, and you want to sell for ASG, hit us up. I got you.
Get some of the best training there is.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I actually had a conversation with Christian a few months ago, and he was able to workshop a little bit with us. So I can vouch for that. So just hired? Is that what you said? Just hired or currently hiring?
Currently hiring. Yep. We're trying to get 2 more. 2
more. Okay. Very soon, I'm guessing, right? Like, what does the timeline look like on when
sooner the better? When I get the right one. When I will not hire out of speed. I will get the right one or I'll wait.
Okay. I'm curious, when you do hire, right? For example, when you hired Christian, tell me about the process for onboarding and how long it took him to ramp.
I would say define ramp.
Get to full productivity, get to producing on a monthly basis at the numbers that you want to be seeing.
About 6 months.
6 months. And he's been there for a while now, right? Year and a half plus.
Probably, yeah. About a year and a half, maybe. That's a good question. But yeah, over a year.
Yeah, very cool. And I think Christian's kind of cool because he doesn't come from an necessarily extensive sales background.
Nope.
A little more fresh, but he comes in and now he's a little more tenured, so that's cool to see.
Yep.
Does he report directly to you, or does he report to Brady?
Reports to Brady.
Both of you? Okay, Brady, still a flat organization, but to Brady.
Yep.
How about his meetings, right? How many meetings is he holding in a typical week?
Oh, that's a good 4, 5, 6, or 7. I don't know. That's an interesting question. I'd have to check. It changes regularly.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some ebbs and flows.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how many do you join? How many of his meetings do you join?
None.
Okay. How many does Brady
I watch
ever
him on?
join?
We use Exec Vision though. We use Exec Vision and watch it on the backside. So either Brady or I will watch his calls after the fact.
Okay. So you and Brady, they're recorded. They go into Exec Vision. You and Brady will watch them after the fact.
Yep.
Can you tell me about the process for Exec Vision, as far as like integration? I guess process for he's holding these meetings. How do they get to the Exec Vision? Then how do they get to you?
It does it automatically. So Exec Vision has a plugin with Zoom. He has a Zoom call. It automatically gets sent to Exec Vision, and then then he assigns it to be watched, or tells us in Slack to go watch it, and then we go watch it.
Okay. Has Christian ever spoken to you about the Zoom integration not working? Him needing to use the Zoom record, download, upload, figure that out, and then send it to you?
That's a good question. I think once Zoom wasn't working, okay, he says, nah, he just answered the question for you. He says, nah, I have to upload manually if I want to make sure it gets in there. So he's not confident that it always gets in there. It's supposed to get in there automatically. Why it's not, that's a good question.
Okay, so he's on chat. Does that take him a while? You know how long it takes him? Or
I wouldn't think it would take more than 5 or 10 minutes. It's pretty easy.
Does he do that on every call?
I don't think he does every call.
Or is it kind of, I would guess, right? I would guess he's picking and choosing, right? Because he doesn't want to do it every time. He's just going to, this is a good call. I want to get this over.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. And then are you reviewing calls that he sends you then? Right. And Brady, or do you kind of proactively jump in and say, hey, I'm going to grab a few calls. I want to review some calls.
No.
Or is it just he sends it to you? Mm-hmm. And is he sending, what's kind of the, if you can tell me the reasoning there, right? Is it, he's seeking out coaching? Is it, you're trying to team sell and you're going to be joining some subsequent meetings?
It's for coaching.
Okay. It's for coaching. He's asking for some feedback on maybe specific things for this specific call.
Yep.
Okay. Very cool. Switching gears a little bit. You doubled the business last year, despite COVID and everything, I believe. I think I saw in a previous video.
Yep.
The goal is to double this year as well.
Yep.
Okay.
No, actually, the goal
truly
is 60%.
double, or
no? The goal this year is to grow 60%.
60%. Okay.
Yep. But we're
cool.
already halfway to our goal after the first quarter.
So pacing beyond. So it sounds like there's no problem with close rate. There's no problem.
Close rate is pretty high.
Average sale price, for example.
No, average sales price is pretty. It's actually, we have no problem with average sales price and no problem with close rate.
Can you tell me about kind of sales cycle? How long are these deals taking?
I can actually tell you, well, roughly exactly. So the average sales cycle right now, I believe, is 40 days to 45 days. What's more interesting, though, is the deals that close, their average sales cycle, I believe, is 33, 34, 35 days. The ones that don't close, the average sales cycle to a loss, right, generally speaking, is almost 75 or 80 days. So what we're learning is the more it gets past the 30-day mark, the less probable they'll close. Yeah.
If it gets that long, then it's probably not going to happen. The stats will say it's probably not going to happen.
Probably not going to happen. Let me give everybody a hint here. I'm going to give everybody a hint when it comes to this. The longer something sits in the sales cycle, the more they're subconsciously telling you they can live with the problem. Let that sink in for a second. So I just did a training for a company that sells $1 million deals. And they're like, yeah, but the big ones take a lot longer. I'm like, yeah, I'll give you they'll take a lot longer. But they shouldn't take 2 or 3 years because I don't care how big the deal is. They're living with that problem. So whether it's a $5 million deal or a $5 deal, in order to change, until they change, they're living with the problem you're trying to solve. So the longer it goes, the more they tell you they're comfortable living with the problem, which then tells you the probability of them closing is low because they're like, fuck it, we've been living with it this long, we can keep living with it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. So already halfway to goal for the year. You want to grow 160%. You're already halfway there. It sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, you will hit the goal without hiring 2 more salespeople. Or do you need these 2 salespeople to hit?
It's possible. One of my issues is our outbound is not doing as well as we'd like. And I've said that a couple times, right? And I think there's a whole bunch of reasons. But our inbound is so strong that we're able to keep growing and growing and growing. But a minute, if for some reason that inbound slows down, right? I can't have predictability into the inbound. The inbound could slow down drastically, and we could find ourselves just making a yearly number and not blowing it out of the water. You just never know when it comes to inbound because we haven't created a process that you can trust or rely on, right?
What is the percentage there? Inbound, outbound? Is it 90-10?
Probably 95, 95-5, 90-10. Mm-hmm.
95-5. So, and Christian, he's using, outreach tools like that, sequencing campaigns, and that is that just not leading to meetings, or it's leading to meetings?
I don't think we're doing a very good job with it. I don't think we're doing a good job with it. To be perfectly frank, look, Christian's really busy now, especially now, trying to manage all the deals and all the inbound, et cetera. When there was 2 of them, they tried different sequences and things like that. Out of fairness, I think we probably could have done some more work as leadership to help with the sequences and add more gap selling elements to them. But we have what's called the freedom box here, and I let people do things themselves. And if it's not working, then they get to try something else and try something else. I just think we haven't provided the support cover that Christian and Mark needed. And they could lean and make almost their number by the inbound itself. So we're looking at making some changes around here and how we drive towards outbound, which includes an outbound only salesperson.
Okay. How about SDR? Then somebody just doing top of funnel?
No.
Okay.
No.
But you want an account executive that can hunt.
Mm-hmm.
They can also drive outbound business. Okay.
Yep.
Let's see.
So come on, I'm going to give you a hint here because you're looking at questions. The minute I see you start looking at questions, it's telling me you've lost sight of where you are and where you're trying to go. So here's the deal. What problem? Everybody sees me do this all the time, right? And so it just reinforces how difficult gap selling is for people and how much they don't understand it. When some people tell me, this is the same as spin and this is the same as salute, bullshit, because people don't understand how we're defining the current state, how we're defining the gap, how we're defining those things. What business problem are you trying to find?
Well, I think that onboarding takes too much time. So you're going to hire 2 salespeople. It's going to take them too long to ramp to productivity, and that's going to cost you some revenue. It's going to cost you some time and effort.
Those are all root causes.
Root causes of not driving enough as much revenue as you want.
Okay, so all right, so the minute I started talking about the fact that if for some reason inbound slows down or we don't get these people hired, we may find ourselves in that position. You should have doubled down on that and started digging into that. Right? That's where you should have went. You just kind of left it. I threw it out there, then you left it and you looked at your sheet to see what else question you would ask me, right?
It's common
issue
on these calls. I've seen them. Yeah.
Right? So stay in the conversation. So you still haven't really told me what problem are you trying to find? If that's the problem, make it more succinct. What problem are you trying to find?
Problem being you may not hit your 160% growth.
Okay.
If you stay status quo today, you don't hire 2 reps and get them wrapped quickly, you may not hit your 160%. I'm sure you would like to crush that as well. So even if you hire these 2 people,
there's a risk.
Basically, the faster you can get them in and get them going, the farther past goal you will get.
Yes. So from that perspective, I'll give you that's a problem. That's a risk-based problem because it hasn't happened yet. Okay. So what you're trying to say is you could be at risk of not making your number without getting these new people on. So I'll go with that. So there's one. What other one is that the only one you're trying to find?
I've got another one that's tied to that, right? But you're going to hire these people and you don't have all of your Christian's calls in exec vision. I think that's a problem because he's picking and choosing which ones to upload. You would have a lot more insights, a lot more data if you just had all of them in there for him, for you, and for the new rep.
Why would I have more? Now you're into the solution stage. You're already going to solution, but all right, I'll play along. Why would it be so much better to have all his calls in there?
I think there's insights on calls that aren't in there. It's hard to say what those might be, right? But it's maybe like missed opportunities, questions that were asked that were maybe not the best questions.
Right now he uploads questions. If right now he uploads 1 a week, right? Mm-hmm. Now I'm not as good at getting to them as Brady is, but he uploads 1 a week, and we watch that at least 1 a week, if not 2. Why would we watch more? How much time do you think we can spend on this?
Well, I mean, that's a problem as well, right? A 30-minute meeting, to watch a 30-minute meeting takes 30 minutes.
I put it on 1.5, but okay.
There's bandwidth issues there. Yeah, put 1.5. Anyways, it takes too long. This is solution still, but I think you need a way to review calls quicker and easier.
Okay, but why do I need a way? Like,
I think Christian would benefit from reviewing his meetings as well, right? Like
what makes you think he doesn't review his meetings, right? What do you think? What makes you think he doesn't?
Because they're not an exec vision. So if he's just recording on Zoom, then he's watching an MP4 without other tools to go through that quicker. And so majority of people, the vast majority, will not just sit down and watch
okay, so what? So he doesn't
back on via just an MP4, right?
It is.
But anyway, also you've had other reps in the past. This is a separate problem, but I think potentially you've had other salespeople in the past. Have you considered that their turnover is because maybe they didn't feel as supported, or they didn't have as much coaching as they wanted?
Okay, well, so that question assumes what? They left, or we let them go?
It assumes they left.
Man, you got to slow down, man. Slow down and think. They didn't quit. We let them go. So the answer is no. To your question.
Yeah. So they didn't leave because they didn't feel supported, but they were let go because they needed to close more.
Maybe not.
Okay. I mean, okay. That's also assumption. Yep. Good point.
You're so in solution mindset. Get out of the solution mindset. Think about where your product plays, right? Think about where your product plays and dig in. So here's what I kept saying to you before. So I hope all your pickle friends are watching, including marketing, right? So what? Literally, so what if it sits in exec vision? So what? And so what if he doesn't watch them all? So what?
Yeah, it's a good point, right? Because I think like close rate's not, and I know this, right? Close rate's 40%. You're happy with 40%. You should be happy, right? Mm-hmm. You have a problem outbound. We're not going to help you generate more outbound meetings. That's not going to be a problem that we solve. I wonder, do you know if it's 95.5, is Christian even having outbound meetings, right? Is it like 1 a month, 2 a month?
Yeah, very few, very few, probably 1 or 2 a month. Yep. Close
rate is the same on those as well?
No, outbound? I'm sure that's a great question. I haven't run that report. I don't even know if I have it. Now I'm going to go into Salesforce and build that report. But it's so low and insignificant, I'm not even trying to watch it. I'm sure our close rate on that's maybe such a small, such a small sample pool that it might even be 30 or 40%, but it's just such a small.
But it would get skewed with one deal. Yeah, you win one deal and it's like, all the data.
Yeah, or it could be 5% for all I know. Like, I don't know. But again, it's such a small sample pool.
I mean, I think there's opportunity there. Right, with looking at one, you still need to generate more outbound meetings.
Wait, hold on, Christian help you out. He's going to help you out. Christian said, "I'll try to help you out here. I typically review calls if it's been a while since the last conversation, or if I'm writing a recommendation, I'm looking for a specific point I missed in my notes."
So it's remembering details over the course of several meetings. It's reviewing a call before he jumps on the next call because the last one was a couple weeks ago, and things like that. I'm a little stuck on the problem that, so is he's recording every call with Zoom, and then if he wants to review it, he puts it in exec vision. It sounds like a convoluted process here, right? Where it's hard for him. Maybe he's spending more time there, probing a little bit here, but maybe he spends that time trying to
now it's more time. So, look, I'm going to try to help you out here because we're at 20 minutes and you haven't found a problem. This must be fucking hard. So tell me what Pickle does.
We'll record your meetings in Zoom, right? We'll record your Zoom meeting. We're an exec vision competitor. And I know you've been with exec vision for a while.
Wait. So Pickle's the same thing as Gong and Chorus?
Same space, definitely.
So how? Okay, so why would I switch?
Because the integration's not working.
Okay.
So that's a feature. But the problem, right? So this is where I'm struggling, candidly, right? Just being candid, right? Is that you don't have a closing problem, you don't have a sale price problem. It seems like sales cycle is fine. those are the core problems that we're going to come in and solve.
Yeah. Good.
Also,
That's good. Very good.
onboarding and training, right?
Okay.
So bringing in new reps, having libraries of calls.
Okay, so go back there. Go back there.
But it's a future problem, so it's a little bit harder.
But that's called risk-based selling. You can actually risk-based sell. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a potential for future problems. So at a risk-based sale, I got to do a video on this for everybody because it's deep shit. But the risk-based sale is you can still gap sell to a potential down the road risk. You have to manipulate. Think about a 4-quadrant matrix. You have to manipulate at the bottom x-axis. It's the impact of that event happening, right? So the impact of us not hiring people, how big could that be? Is it high or low? Then the next one is the y-axis, and that is the probability of the event happening. So if the probability is high or is it low? So in the bottom left box is the impact of it happens is low and the probability of it happening is low. No one's going to buy. Does that make sense? Are you sure?
I think so. I would like to watch your video on it, honestly.
Right. So
a little more in depth.
Think about it. The probability of an event happening is really low. It's never going to, chance of happening is really low. And the impact to you if the event happens is really low. Is anybody going to buy?
Oh, then it's not as painful. Yeah. No, they're not.
No. They don't believe it's going to happen. And if it does happen, so what? It's not going to hurt me, right? The other one is the top right box. If it happens, it's massive impact. And oh, by the way, the probability of it happening is super high. Is someone going to change or do something to fix that?
Definitely. High probability of fixing a big problem. Yep.
Yeah, like, holy shit, if this happens, I'm fucked. I'm going to die. And oh my God, the chance of it happening is super high. I better change really quick, right? Yeah, that's the only time people buy. Okay, yeah. The ones in the middle are, I think it could happen any day now, but I don't really care. It's not going to, if it does happen, it's not going to be that big of an impact. No big deal. So you, as a seller, have to change my viewpoint on the impact. Right? That's what you sell to, getting me to think, dude, this is a bigger deal than you think. The other side of it is, yeah, this is the impact is right. Yeah, dude, if this happens, I'm fucked. Like, if I get struck by lightning, I'm going to die. Yep. But I'm never going to get struck by lightning. Never. It happens once in a billion. Here's once in a lifetime. So that my probability is low. Your job as a seller is to try to convince me or show me or understand, does my current lifestyle, habits, etc., actually increase my chance of getting struck by lightning? And if you can get that probability to go up, that moves me into that top right box, I'm going to buy. I'm going to change. So if you're trying to convince me or you're going to try to sell me on this idea that if I don't hire people fast enough, I could miss my number, then you've got to either play on the impact side or the probability side.
I think I'm more inclined to go impact. Maybe it's just easier to go impact. But I think, if 2 account executives can ramp to full productivity in 4 months rather than 6 months, in 3.5 months rather than 6 months, is that significant as far as driving more?
Yeah, of course.
Revenue growth?
Of course it is. So yes. So now here's your chance. Let's see what you do with this. I want everybody paying attention. Here's your big chance. I gave you a yes to a self-diagnosis question because I'm being nice. So what are you going to do with it? Of course it will be better for us. Where are you going to go with that?
Can you define better? Like, what does that mean?
Okay.
How much?
It just like you mean. It means that they're able to start bringing their quota in 2 months faster. Okay, so if they have $1 million quota,
value, right? Or is it, how much more
if they have $1 million quota, they have $1 million quota, that's $80,000 per person per month, right?
Yeah. 83.333.
Yeah. Okay. So that's 196 or 166 or some shit, 166 over 2 months. Yes.
That's significant. That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially, that's a ton.
Times 2.
Now I feel like I need to move to the probability.
No, because you don't. Right? Because what don't you know? What don't you know? You got the problem. You got the impact. What don't you know?
Okay. How will you ramp them to productivity faster? How will you ramp
too many
them
process
to productivity
questions. You ask way too many process questions. What don't you know right now? It's the simplest question in the world. If you're trying to diagnose, right, our onboarding process, if you're trying to diagnose our onboarding process, you think the problem is, or you want me to believe that the problem is we may not be able to get people on fast enough, right? Then you have to take a look at that whole process from recruiting all the way into getting people ramped up, or from the first day they get hired to the day to they're ramped up. What do you want to know about that?
Well, I want to dive into process a little bit more. But that just takes too much
Okay.
time, right?
All
I want to
right.
dive into, okay, they start on day one. What are they doing? Are they joining calls? Can you tell me what's going to happen this first week, the second week?
Yeah, so the first week we put them on, we give them access to the online training. They have to go through the online training, and then they do all the other bullshit you have to do to get set up with all the applications, get set up on Salesforce, get set up on Slack. All that shit is the first week. Getting them set up.
When do they start taking their own calls?
About 3-4 months in.
3-4 months in before they're taking their own live calls.
Yeah. Yep. Maybe 2.
Sure. I mean, those calls definitely need to be.
Piece. You're missing the big. It's the simplest question. Anybody paying attention here? What do you think the question he should be asking right now? There's a lot of people on this. What is the question you should be asking right now, everybody?
I wish I could see
what
the
you
chat.
guys say. Let's see what they say. I'm being nice today. So
Appreciate
Jesse
it.
Dunn, if you don't improve rep time to productivity, what happens then? He got that by understanding that's like $360,000, $70,000 on the line, but that's a self-diagnosing question, but I can still live with it, right? But that's not it.
Yeah, it was if we could do this. It's a self-diagnosing because
Whoa, okay, no. What's his name? Here we go. Juan Pablo Garcia. He said, how do you do it today? Now, I mean, look, these aren't bad questions, but there's one question no one's answered. Oh, agreed, but define better is revenue and impact. Okay, yeah, you could define that, but do you want to shorten that time? Of course I do. He's already got that. Go for the kill. No, you don't dare. Val, no. Villard, oh, stop it. Don't go for the kill. That's silly. What impact would have a ramp if time was shortened? Okay, but he kind of got that, guys. The impact would be about $366,000, something like this. He's at diagnosis stage, right? Here's what happens. Watch what would happen. He said, just coming out of my mouth, I'm watching your face. What do you think would have happened if you simply asked me, what are the 2 or 3 things that you struggle with the most that makes this ramp take 6 months? You don't even know what you're trying to fucking fix yet. Like literally, you said I can shorten it from 6 months to 4 months without even knowing why it takes so long, right?
Right. I'm asking process. I was trying to focus process. Like, tell me about how you onboard and tell me me what happens when they start. But it's much more direct, quicker, faster. If I can say, what do you struggle with that makes it take 6 months?
Yes, because what I did, this is why. Because I said to you, well, the first week they do this, and then they have to go on and watch the online training. And then you said, oh, okay, well, when did they start talking? And I said about 3 months. Like, oh, wow, 3 months. I don't think you were ever going to get there. So I'm going to give you the answer to that. And watch how this is going to make your life easier. The biggest challenge to getting our people ramped up is getting to actually fucking be able to gap sell. That's our biggest ramp challenge, because gap selling is you're sitting in this hot seat right fucking now is hard. And you're like, damn, I'm getting slayed. And I thought I was doing so good. So until you know that's our biggest challenge with the onboarding, how are you going to convince me that you can solve it? But now that I just told you that, I already see the wheels turning in your head. You're like, oh, I know, I think we could help them with that. So now go from there and go 1 layer deeper or 2 layers deeper and see if you can flush this out.
Yeah, gap selling's hard. It takes, so it's taking people time to implement. How will they, and it's a small organization as well, right? Just, 10 employees or so, 10, 15 employees, something like that, right? There's significant time resources from you to coach and train Brady, to coach and train and get them to this point.
Brady's slated. Brady's a gap selling beast. So she's on. She's got it.
So I'm interested in hearing how they'll coach themselves as well,
okay.
Right? Because
so what you want to do?
Brady's wearing a lot of hats.
So you're asking how they coach themselves. Well, right now,
how they help themselves get there faster. Yeah.
Christian does it himself. He just kind of told you he goes in and watches them when he feels he's missing something. So you literally you could have done it again. You literally could have done it again. You could have said, okay, I told you the gap selling is the hardest part of getting them on board. So what should have been your next question?
What are the big struggles? What are the main 3 struggles to getting to be a gap seller?
There you go. So now you're trying to, so getting people to understand gap selling, what are the 3 hardest things? I would say 1 is understanding the difference between a technical problem and a business problem. I think the second one is teaching people to actually listen, right? Actually listen to what the buyer is saying. I think that another one is them to really understand what our pick is and learn how to get to the problem immediately. And I think probably the last one is, there's one more. Having the critical thinking skills to listen to what the person is saying and in an agile, impromptu fashion, be able to ask the next question. Not be like, okay, I asked the question, they answered. Now what's the next question on my list? To actually be in the conversation. Mm-hmm.
One thing that's interesting, why is it so hard to understand the pick, right? You have problems laid out. You know the problems that you solve. Then it's, impacts, root causes. Why is it so hard to understand the pick?
I don't think it's hard to understand the pick. I think it's hard for people to actually internalize the pick so they can do it on the fly.
So then the second point of being able to do it on the fly.
Right. So you got to be able to understand what the root causes are. See, what a lot of people do is what you do. You ask constant process questions. Now, I don't mind the process questions, but I could tell there's a difference between asking deliberate process questions because you know what you're trying to find versus just asking process questions that are all over the place and hope you stumble over something. Entirely different process. You were asking the how process questions and stumbling. Like, how do you do this? I
can help you out as well and say, like, when I know from experience, when you ask too much process questions, when it takes too long, then you're just not building value. You still have to build value throughout a discovery, right? Yeah. You're going to get to the end of a discovery. You're going to understand the entire process front to back, but they're not going to care because there's nothing.
Because they know their own process.
There's no problem, right? So
yes. When you ask process questions, they already know the answers to those. There's no value. But when you help them understand their problem and you help them understand the root cause and the impact, then they start to see the value because they're like, well, maybe he knows something else. Maybe he can help me. So because you were able to get to the problem fast enough, then when you got to the problem, you didn't start diagnosing the problem deeper. You kept going to process questions, right, that were not targeted, right? Had you simply asked, what's the biggest problem in getting people ramped up on time, getting them to understand gap selling? Great. Of that, what is the most difficult things that people take the longest to understand gap selling? Then you could have said, okay, so how are you today helping them train on those 3 things? Look out. I mean,
come back is a much better process question.
Yeah. Mark, it takes 2 seconds. It's that fast, right? And I'm looking at your eyes. You're literally following the logic, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, because I know this is things that I struggle with, right? And things that we've tried to workshop internally. So it's really helpful.
So once you got there, then you're like, okay. Then what am I could say? Now here, ask the question.
Well, we're gonna say, what are the struggles with ramping up faster? What are the struggles with implementing gap selling?
No. Okay, I can live with that and you're on the fly. But if I want you to do this right, it's not to ramp up faster. That's future state. It's what is guys, it's so important. It's a diagnosis. Okay. What are the things that are causing the ramp up time to be so long? Do you see the difference?
Right.
No, that was a question. Really, do you see the difference?
Yeah, I do. Right? It's taking it away from future and it's saying like, this is a problem that it's not a problem we're going to face in 4 months from now. So we can get to when you start, here's how it goes. Everybody pay attention. This is how it goes. When you start asking somebody why something isn't shorter, that's not always an answer for that. That solution, you're getting them to start thinking about, I don't know, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, I don't know. But if you say to someone, what is happening now? Why is it taking your onboarding process or 6 months for people to become proficient enough for you to believe that they can sell gap selling? Why does that take so long? That's happening right now. I don't have to postulate. I don't have to think about what right? This is what's happening now. How do
right?
you,
And
and then
then-
how do you help them? How do you help them to do gap selling on the fly, right? How do you help them to be able to internalize this enough that they can do this on the fly?
Yes. So what we do is we use a lot of video, and we go through their calls, and then we sit with them, put notes in their calls with like an executive little note thing, right? We let them, and then we sit with them and watch them and stop it here and say, look, see what the customer said here. You can do this. See what the customer said here. You could have asked this question. We do a lot of video coaching,
which is great. That's what I'm selling, right? This is what I want. That's what I want you to do. But I want you to do it more than just one call a week.
Okay. So you want me to do it more. So go
and I want them to do it more. It needs to be easy for the reps to be like, be doing this on each call, but it has to be easy. I don't want to get too much into product or in product at all, but it has to be easy for them.
All right. So then how do you get me to do it more? How do you get me to do it more?
Got to find a problem with you only doing it once a week.
Not with only doing it once. What do you got to do? There's another word you want to use.
I'm not sure.
Okay, everybody. This is for everybody, not just my man. You have to understand why. If you want somebody to change, you have to understand why they're not changing now, or why they can't do something now. This is all why driven. So if you say, well, I want you to do it more than once a month or more than once a week, I want them to do it more than once a week. So you got to understand what?
Why? Thank you. Why? There's got to be a reason.
And I may not know the reason.
Nobody changes without a why. So
nobody changes unless the current state is untenable.
Yeah.
Okay. So floor is yours for another minute, and then we got a jet.
Trying to be
so ask a question.
But I mean, why only once per week? I'm still a little stuck there. Like
time.
Okay, because it takes. How long does it take?
You figure the average call is 45 minutes to an hour, and so even at 1.5, it takes 40 minutes to get through the call. Then we have to sit down and go through another, and then when I actually do the call, it probably takes easily an hour and a half, because I put so many notes in, and we stop it every second, and we have a talk, and I can be verbose, right? I don't know how Brady's takes, but Brady's probably takes an hour. So just to do one call usually takes about 2 hours in total time, 2.5 hours.
Okay. So I don't want you to do more of those. I don't want you to take 2 hours to do those. Keep doing that once a week. But I guess, how often is Christian reviewing his own calls? And how long
often are you reviewing your own calls, Christian? I'll see what he says in a second.
How often is he going back and looking at calls? How often is he referencing that for a recap?
I'm going to say he's going back once himself, probably once himself. So maybe that.
Why only once a week? Why only once a week? He's got five to 10 calls a week. Why is he only doing it for one?
No, you asked about outbound. You asked about outbound calls. He have inbound calls. He got more than 5. He got more than one every other day usually. There you go. He does it every other day.
Okay. A call every other day. Maybe 50% of calls.
I guess so, yeah.
He's having 5 a week. 5 a week's like 1 a day, maybe 2 a day.
That's a lot, isn't it? That's a lot.
Why every other day? There's a lot of important things on every one of these calls, right? And I get it because it takes a lot of time, but
okay, but
I don't want to get into
now you're running around a rough road now. You're going to be hard pressed to convince me that my sales team needs to be spending more than every other day reviewing what they're doing. I look at this like sports tape, right? And I can't even do that because sports tape, you can do it live for 2 seconds while it's happening. But if my team is literally going out and reviewing their calls once every other day, I don't think you could absorb much more than that. You need time to apply it. You absolutely need time to apply it. So, I mean, unless you can explain to me why they should be doing it.
It's a good point, right? Struggle here because I want to talk product, right?
I know you do. So I know you do because you know why you're struggling? I don't think we have a problem that you can solve.
But you have a solution in place. I think there's parts of it that are a little bit broken, right?
Okay.
I don't think you should have to download and upload. I think you should be taking his notes in that platform, so then they're tied with the conversations.
I agree.
I think there's times, I should have asked this, there's times when he needs to review a call from 2-3 weeks ago because he's jumping on another call with them and he doesn't have it.
Yeah, he has it. He has that. Why wouldn't he have
Zoom? Well, in Zoom, because then are you paying for extra cloud storage in Zoom? They're going to expire. Typically, they're going to expire after some time. Ask
that. So I think he moved. If he's already I don't know if it's in Zoom or not, and I don't know what number go into Exec Vision. So sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Why it's not consistent, I don't know. So there's one potential problem we have. But the thing you said, if he's going back, these are just such a small gap, my man. It's such a small gap, right? So yeah, there are a few things here, but watch. I'm going to just zing you right now, okay? This gap is really small. Could there be things you guys do better that make our life a little easier? Yes. But the truth of the matter is there's such a small gap. So really what it's going to come down is the cost of change, right? The cost of change. And we don't pay for Exec Vision.
Right.
So I'm going to need a bigger problem than that to change.
It's valid. I get it. 100%.
Now, let me ask you this question. Do you guys create reports and things like that and create correlations, et cetera, to calls and close rates?
Yes. It's not our focus though, candidly.
Okay. Good answer.
So we have dashboards and reports, but it's not the focus.
So that could have been something that got my attention, right? Because then you could have turned around and showed me a path to onboarding people faster and assessing the productivity of the team and potentially growing our close rate. So you could have done another risk-based sell, and you could have sold me on the idea that you're not selling enough right now because you're not actually being able to figure out what is working best and what isn't. That would have got my attention, right? But if it's not your core competency, don't do it. So
yeah, that's my take. I mean, we're more focused on the rep, right? We're you mentioned Gong, Chorus, Exec Vision, et cetera. We're in the same space, but we're more focused on the account executive and building tools for them, like note-taking tools to be able to stay organized in their calls better, to be able to review calls themselves quicker and easier, and things like that. So it's
So as you go into the product, I know you want to go into the product, and I hope this is how we're going to end this one. It's been a little longer than normal, but that's okay. This is how we're going to end this one. You just went into a couple of the things in the product. It felt good to get it out. You got to throw it on the table. But the bottom line is everything you said just rolled off me because the things you said are going to drive the problems that I don't have. Do you see what I'm saying? Like just because Christian can do this a little faster doesn't really address me with a problem because he's still getting in there and looking at his recordings 2 or 3 times a week. We're still getting in there. So it's not enough time that I feel like we're missing out on other things or it's affecting the business negatively, right? We're still growing. Our close rate's decent. Our average time to sale is decent. So all the things you touch are not negatively affected right now by your thing other than our onboarding. But you haven't shown me a way.
I mean, I think, they're not affecting you negatively. I think maybe Christian more so, right? Just Christian and his process and any frustrations that he has just tool wise. But
that's not a big enough gap. It's exactly why I call it gap selling. And trust me, and anybody listening, y'all agree with this. No CEO in the world is going to spend a dime to make their sales team happier unless there is some downstream effect of that, right? And if I'm going to make my sales team happier, it's not the 5 or 10 or 12 minutes he's going to save or she's going to save by not having to download the Zoom or have it automatically upload somewhere. That's not. I'm going to do that by flying them all out here over Christmas, or I'm going to do that by buying them really nice Christmas birthday presents every time it's their birthday, or I'm going to do that by buying a place in Vail and then the beach where they can take their families for free because they work for us. Those are things I'm going to do, right? I'm not going to buy a new software stack to make my sales team their life easier unless I see the downstream benefit to that, to revenue, average time to close, average sales price, onboarding, et cetera.
To closing outbound more, to cracking the code outbound.
Okay.
I could have focused there a little more for sure.
All right, man. Look, good effort. Good
Appreciate
effort.
it.
Yeah. If I'm in your shoes, my big takeaway is your ability to really get to the problem quicker and then get to the whys. Why are these problems? There's more diagnosis, less long process how questions.
Right.
Okay. Less of those. Look, I don't mind a how question here and there, but here's what another say. Know exactly where you're going with the how question. Right? Know what you're looking for with it. Okay, you look confused.
Well, no, what I'm looking for here is, you want to close more. You're higher closer. It's back to the classic sales problems, right?
But my point, see, you're missing my point. I know I want to close more, but what I'm saying is a process question doesn't help me see how to close more until you understand why I'm not closing more. So you have to have an idea in your head. What are the 2 or 3 or 4 things that's preventing him from closing more? So then what are those things I'm going to
why
try to
are
find?
they okay? You're winning 40%. Why are you losing the 60? What are the top 2 or 3 reasons why you're losing the 60?
Yes. So
Maybe
what is it? I may not know. Exactly. So you should have in your head, is it because you can't ramp people up fast enough? Is it because they're not selling a gap selling at the level they should be? Is it because you go even deeper? If you did your gap selling, you know what I'm doing? Is it because the team really doesn't understand the nuances of gap selling and they don't understand the difference between a business problem and a technical problem, or they can't get to the business problem fast enough and they're not applying the pick as it's supposed to happen? And I might say yes or no to those. And then once you know what the root cause is, then you can start saying, well, let me show you how we would help that better. Let me show you how we'd help them. Watch what I do here. Help them absorb the concept between a business problem and a technical problem faster. So therefore, your onboarding would be faster. Therefore, see what I'm doing? You got to reverse engineer it, but you're all over the place. Okay? So you're surfing looking for a problem. Know what it is. Know what the root cause is you're looking for. And ask very specific questions to get you there. And if you get there and there's no good answer, back out and go down again.
Yeah.
All right?
Got it.
All right, baby.
I appreciate it.
All right, man. Good work. I appreciate it. Good effort. Right? Thank you very much. All right, everybody. This was a long one. We had a good show today. Some good questions on here. Really quickly, one person said he's asking too many close-ended questions. I just want to end on this thought. Get that pathetic, old-school, close-ended question bullshit advice out of your head. I call them, and we call them here at ASG, validating questions. And validating questions are gold when used appropriately. So this idea that you should never ask close-ended questions is just silly. Just silly, okay? It doesn't matter if you ask close-ended, open-ended, etc. Instead, you just need to know what problem you're looking for, what do you think the impact could be, and what's causing it. Okay? I don't care how you get there. Yes, no questions or wide open command statement questions. Tell me a little bit about, or a middle of the road probing question. How are you? What do you do? Where are you right now? What are you doing? Okay? So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. If you want to come on, Pickle got some good exposure today. See, the smart ones understand you get on, you might close a deal outside of this, right? So if you want to come on, if you got a product or service that you think I or ASG company, a sales growth company needs or could use, hit me, text me. I don't even know what my text is. What's my text? Hold on. Text me here. Text me right here. Right here. Text me here. Or hit me up on LinkedIn, DM me on LinkedIn, or email me, and we will get you on the show. All right, folks? Until next time, I hope you found this valuable. You know what I'm going to say. Peace. I'm out. Oh, wait. Thank you, Brady. My man, Kamana, you get a free version, a free access to gap selling online training. I almost forgot. Totally forgot. So we can improve your gap selling skills. So anybody that actually comes on and gap sells me, that's your, what are they, the consolation prize? Yes. There it is, my man. So Paige will reach out to you with all the access you need, and you get free access to Gap Selling online training. It's pretty dope. It's interactive. Do it. I think you'll learn a lot. All right, baby. All right. Now everybody knows what I'm going to say. Peace. I'm out.